Ms. Lively respectfully moves the court to sanction defendant Jamie Heath pursuant to Rule 37 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure for failure to comply with the court's August 27, 2025 order, compelling the production of certain materials. The video Mr. Heath showed Ms. Lively on the set of the film of his fully nude wife during the birth of their child during an at-home birth without warning or consent by September 2, 2025. The court should 1. Order Mr. Heath to produce all video footage depicting the birth video, including but not limited to all versions that show the delivery, within 3 days of the court's order, and 2. Preclude Mr. Heath from offering any evidence, including written or oral testimony, on the topic of his showing the birth video, or any portion thereof, to Ms. Lively. If Mr. Heath's non-compliance stands, he will have successfully, and unfairly, deprived Ms. Lively from showing the jury the part of the footage she recalls Mr. Heath showing her on set. The court should not reward Mr. Heath for his own misconduct.
Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, what is that?
Blake Lively really just asked the judge for another woman's birthing video. When I read the filing, all I could think was, what on earth is her problem? The filing, entered October 30th, reads like something you'd expect from a tabloid fever dream, not a federal docket. Blake's legal team demanded that Wayfarer executive Jamie Heath hand over all versions of a home birth video featuring his wife. They claim the 3-minute clip already provided isn't what Blake remembers seeing, so they want the full recording, including the delivery itself, and they want Heath punished for refusing. And there it is. The moment when standing up for women took a sharp turn into hand over the childbirth footage. The woman who once sold empowerment like it was a lifestyle brand is now arguing that a mother's most private moment should be courtroom evidence. It's the kind of irony so thick it could file its own motion. Imagine demanding someone's birthing video in court and having the audacity to call it justice. Somewhere, a PR team is chain-smoking, downing Red Bulls, and trying to figure out how to spin this without choking on their own coffee. The motion doesn't hint, it hollers. Blake's lawyers want all versions depicting the delivery, as if justice depends on every contraction. They argue it's key evidence, even though Blake allegedly saw only a blink of it years ago. The filing threatens sanctions, restrictions, even blocking Heath from testifying. It reads less like a legal document and more like a hostage note written in legalese. There's invasive, there's obsessive, and then there's Blake Lively and her lawyers asking for your home birth video. If irony were admissible, she'd already be found guilty of it. This is the same Blake who often speaks about boundaries, privacy, and the importance of protecting women in vulnerable moments. Yet here she is, trying to subpoena one. The dissonance feels almost poetic. She spent months positioning herself as Hollywood's moral compass, and now she's the one spinning it off the table. The woman who built her brand on empowerment just tripped over her own talking points and landed squarely in someone else's delivery room. The halo she polished for years is starting to look like a searchlight pointed at everyone but herself. At times, it feels less like fighting the patriarchy and more like trying to run it. Each filing from her camp drips with virtue signaling about dignity and safety, while the subtext screams control. Her filings throw around feminist buzzwords like confetti at a pity parade, bright, loud, and meaningless the moment they hit the floor. It's not about protecting women anymore. It's about protecting her narrative. She isn't fighting a system so much as trying to direct it. Every quote about female solidarity now sounds like rehearsal dialogue for a role she stopped believing in. And it all started with one line in her complaint. She said a colleague showed her an adult video on set without warning. Later, it came out that the so-called adult video was actually a home birth recording of Jamie Heath's wife. Not exactly 50 Shades of Grey, more like 50 Pushes of Pain. The absurdity writes itself. Calling a birth video indecent is like calling a CPR tutorial inappropriate. For a woman who's given birth 4 times, you'd think she'd recognize the difference between a medical moment and a movie rating. If discomfort has become evidence, we're going to need a bigger courtroom. The person at the heart of all this, Natasha Heath, isn't famous. She didn't ask to be part of a Hollywood scandal, yet her private life now sits in the middle of a court docket. Imagine your own family video being pulled into litigation because someone else said it made them uncomfortable. The filing notes that access is restricted, but once a clip becomes evidence, control vanishes. For many observers, that shifted the tone from confusion to outrage. Protecting women shouldn't mean exposing one against her will. Blake's crusade for dignity has turned into an accidental masterclass in how to take someone else's. Then there's the timing, and the timing, it's very telling. Blake's case appears to be under serious pressure. Wrong jurisdiction, missing right to sue letters, misfiled parties. It reads like a legal brief written in crayon and proofread by a publicist. When the foundation cracks, distraction becomes strategy. So she files another motion, one guaranteed to draw eyes. If this were poker, it'd look like an all-in bluff with no cards left to play. The louder the filings get, the more it feels like noise covering silence from the bench. And when your best defense is volume, you've already lost the argument. Every time one of these motions lands, it dominates headlines. The second it hits the docket, major outlets echo it, pairing words like lively, Heath, and adult video together. Even if the motion fails, the story survives another news cycle. To critics, it looks less like litigation and more like a PR rollout timed for maximum coverage. The courtroom becomes a content calendar. It's not always about winning a case, it's about keeping the spotlight from dimming. These filings read like press releases dressed in legal citations, each one screaming, "Remember me?" Wayfarer already handed over a 3-minute clip showing nothing salacious, just a mother, a baby, and reality. Blake says it's not the right one. People watching this circus joke that she wants every frame just to find her own outrage in HD. That theory paints her as strategic rather than victimized. One frame of discomfort, and suddenly the whole narrative shifts. It's not about what's real. It's about what can be clipped, framed, and dramatized. She's not asking for the truth. She's asking for editing rights. The real problem isn't what's missing from the footage, it's what's missing from her story. Every new filing from Blake sounds like a rewrite, like she's workshopping her own narrative in real time. One week, she's the wronged woman reclaiming power. The next, she's the helpless victim of everyone around her. The tone keeps shifting, but the spotlight never moves. It's hard to tell whether she's building a case or just building character development. Either way, it's starting to feel less like justice and more like improv with better lawyers. And that leads to the question no motion can dodge. What does empowerment mean if it humiliates another woman? Blake has built a career on the aesthetic of strength, soft focus, perfect lighting, and a bite of vulnerability for flavor. But this filing stripped away the gloss. It shows someone willing to bulldoze another woman's boundaries to save her own image. She might win a headline or two, but she risks losing something bigger: credibility, empathy, and whatever moral ground she once stood on. If protecting women now means demanding their private lives as evidence, what exactly is being protected? When female solidarity turns into discovery requests, you've lost the plot. The motion itself might fade, but the damage is done. This isn't just another court document. It's a symbol of how quickly principle turns to possession when image is on the line. To many, it lands less like empowerment and more like exploitation wrapped in legal stationery. Blake once promised to stand for women. Now she's standing over them. For someone who claimed to fight exploitation, this feels like a new version of it, one with better lighting and worse optics. Hollywood's pretending to be shocked, but you can tell they're bookmarking this for when they need a new "what not to do" seminar. The irony couldn't be more cinematic. The actress who wanted to direct her own legacy just directed herself into controversy. The advocate for privacy just tried to subpoena it. If this is empowerment, it's powered by ego, not empathy. Because there's nothing strong about demanding another woman's birthing video. There's nothing brave about turning a mother's moment into a legal tactic. And there's nothing empowering about crossing the line you built your entire career on. She wanted to show strength but ended up proving she'll bend reality before bending accountability. She set out to make history for women and somehow made a masterclass in self-sabotage instead.
That's my opinion!